Hi, I'm Auntie Tam, and I do content about mental health, mental wellness, and a little bit of life advice for those looking to improve their adulting. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. And we are looking at February as the month of self care, of self love. And this is an interesting thing for me to be doing today because I'm actually not feeling that great within myself. And I think it's probably the best day to be doing um, a video on how to love yourself, even though I'm feeling not that great about myself. So let's get to it. A lot of the time, we are told by our counselors, our therapists, our friends, our family, just love yourself, just love yourself. And the question is, and I've always asked this question, but how? How do you love yourself? How do you get to that point where you are absolutely in love with yourself and in love with your life? And if you've never experienced this, if you've never experienced not loving yourself, you're not going to understand how people feel who don't love themselves. And it we see the evidence in our lives of not loving ourselves by the decisions we've made, by the actions we've taken or not taken, about how we care for our bodies, how we care for our mental state. And so you can see the evidence littering our lives. And I'm sure if you've been in this position, you know exactly what I mean. It's those terrible relationships. It's staying in that toxic environment when you know you should be moving out. It's making financial decisions that are not helpful to you. It is not taking care of your body, not eating properly, not exercising, not looking after your mental health. So you'll see that as an outward manifestation of that lack of self love. And often what happens is when we are in that position where we don't love ourselves, it comes from something that we've learned in the past. And we often hear a little voice in our head saying, oh, you're rubbish, you suck, you're a loser, you're a failure, all kinds of other things. My inner voice sometimes tells me how much of a failure I am. It tells me, oh, well, you think you're so clever, but look, you've made this mistake. Aren't you such a terrible person because you've done this terrible mistake? Even if that has been breaking a glass, and it's like, oh, look how clumsy and stupid you are. And I'm sure you might have an inner voice that says similar things. And like I say, today, that little voice is chirping away at me. It's telling me how rubbish I am today. And it makes me feel bad. And that's what happens when we don't love ourselves. We've got this chatter going on. We don't see ourselves as worthy. We don't see ourselves as lovable. We don't see ourselves as deserving of respect or kindness or compassion. Yet at the same time, we're busy dishing all of that out for the people around us. Because I think, in my case, in part, I think I did that so that I could be loved and accepted. Because I wasn't loving and accepting myself, you'll find that the things that you do for others takes on a completely different vibration when you start doing it from a place of love for yourself instead of I want you to love me, so I'm doing this. And we get ourselves into all kinds of tricky situations when we do that people pleasing thing, because we end up going to events that we don't want to go to, doing things that we don't want to do, buying things that we don't want to buy, or expending money on somebody, or giving somebody money when you don't have money yourself, purely because we want somebody to find us in some way meaningful. So from a personal perspective, I woke up today not feeling great. I have chronic pain issues. And I woke up today in a great deal of pain. I also made a mistake related to my work, and it's, and for me, making a little mistake is not a small thing. It weighs on me, and I overthink it. And so the question is, how do you love yourself? Where exactly do you begin? Well, this is a great example, because what I did this morning was to try and change my state. Something that I've been doing for a while. So when I feel myself in this state of I don't love myself, I do something to change that state. For me, things that I do, you may find that you do other things, but for me, it's singing, it's drawing, it's listening to music, it's dancing, it's doing a little bit of karate. These things help me. The question is, again, how do you love yourself? The thing that I found, and I don't know if this will be helpful for you, so please tell me, because what works for me may not necessarily work for you. I read loads and loads and loads and loads of self-help books in my 20s and early 30s to try and find an answer. I would ask my therapists or my counselors, how do I love myself? And then, just take better care of yourself. And that's not really helpful at the end of the day, because a lot of stuff needs to start to change in our minds and in our mental state and in our own personal feelings towards who we are. And one of the best ways I found for me to do that was to start seeing myself as my lover. I know, right? Would I treat my lover like this? These are the questions I would ask myself. So, would I allow my lover to speak to me in a negative way? The answer is no. Would I speak to my lover in a negative way? The answer is no. Would I take care of my lover and make sure they get good nutrition and exercise? Yes, I would. So that's how it started. Eventually, it progressed into this idea in Buddhism, in the Nichiren Buddhism, we have what is called a Butsudan, which is kind of like a box. And inside this box, we keep a sacred scroll. Now, the scroll is to represent our life, and the box is obviously to protect it, the Butsudan. So I then started seeing myself as my body is my Butsudan, and I am the sacred scroll that is inside it. And then again, my views started to change about loving myself. Now I also have this exercise I do when it comes to food. I say, is this going to be an offering that I would be happy to place before the Buddha? Now, if you are not religious and if you are atheist, part of what you can do in this circumstance, because I've linked it to my spiritual practice, what you can do is, would I give this food to my child? Would I speak to my child this way? Would I care for my child this way? And if you don't have children, perhaps your pets. Would I take my pet to the vet the very first time I see there's something wrong? Would I give them the best quality food that I can afford? Would I take them for regular walks? Would I yell at them constantly about how stupid and horrible they are, or will I give them love? And you begin by start slowly, bit by bit, treating yourself in the way that you wish you had been treated by other people in the past. Part of this is reparenting, and we can do a video on reparenting if you're interested. But part of this is reparenting, because often our parents and authority figures and teachers and siblings and friends and co-workers and bosses and all of this have climbed in on the action and sort of reinforce this negative self-image that we have. So we can start also by looking at how we can dismantle that, because often this chirpy little voice that we hear is saying things not that we've created. They're repeating the things that we've heard from our parents, from our teachers, from other people. So we need to start dismantling that. And we'll take a look at how you can start dismantling that little voice in our next video. I hope this has been a fair introduction, and I hope that you are going to have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Please place your mental health first. Make that your priority, because once you are looking after yourself, everything else starts to fall into place on its own. And I wish you a great day. I'll see you next week.